A few people have asked, because obviously we're trying to do now, what we will be doing every couple of weeks, is doing you guys shout outs on Twitter. Obviously that, because as our popularity grows, we're going to hopefully, by helping promoting you, some of that popularity then will offload onto you, especially with you being our first fixture. A lot of people are going to see you guys and I'll be checking you out, so that will help massively. But one thing I'm just a bit not cautious, wrong word to use. I'm wondering is, I know you guys, you have some decent following that watch your games. How many do you think, realistically, numbers wise, will probably make the travel here to come watch? Do you think quite a few will make the travel, or do you? Because I know obviously you're gonna have players' families, obviously friends possibly as well. Me and Nick, if we push it well and we promote it properly and we go about things the right way, there's nothing stopping us having a good few hundred people there. So yeah, I was just wondering, I know you can't give me an exact number, but do you anticipate that you'll have a fair few numbers that will come along with you to obviously come and support the event?
Yeah, I think it's always a difficult question to answer, that one, because obviously as an away team, obviously then you've got to rely on people paying the travel expenses to get up to certain places, which is fine. We hope to bring a few people with us anyway. Again, we could never put a number on it. It would be very difficult, but I know for all the lads' families that they should come. As I said to you before, in terms of our travel and how we're going to do travel, we're all going to car share and people are going to drive up separately anyway. So that gives more opportunity for people to actually make the journey up with our players, rather than having to make a separate journey.
Yeah.
So we hope to obviously bring as many as we possibly can. Obviously, we'll do as much advertising as we possibly can as well. I know Whittam Town will do the same for us. I spoke to, have you heard of a guy called Ollie Bayliss?
Don't know that one.
Yes, Ollie Bayliss runs a non-league show for the BBC.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So I've been speaking to him, and he's going to promote the pair of us. So Essex Charity and Nightingale as well in the non-league show. So he's basically just asked us to send us all of the fixtures, and he'll promote that on the BBC on a non-league show as well. And he's also potentially offered us the opportunity to come down and do some recording with him on the non-league show.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So that would be us and yourselves as well, which is massive, being on something like that. I mean, I think the guy's got 22,500 followers on his own without obviously being on the BBC. So that'd be good. But yeah, it's a difficult number to put on it, Rich. We'd all love to know exactly how many people.
Yeah.
But I think you're always going to get more following from a home side than you would as an away side.
To be honest with you, we don't want to have it, obviously like a normal football game you have at home and away team. Yes, essentially you are an away team, but what we want is we want people there to support both teams, not to have just support for us. Because at the end of the day, you're making the travel to us. You're raising funds for the same charity as we are. You really are no different to us. So obviously that's what we want. We want to have just a nice family feel event. We want loads of things going on. Hopefully the weather's kind to us. I know it'll be in January, but hopefully it won't be too bad. Obviously nearer the time we could discuss what we sort of want. It'd be nice to have something on for obviously for family, for the kids. There's a clubhouse. Obviously, it's a lovely clubhouse as well. Nick will tell you it's been recently done out. About a couple of months ago, they unfortunately had a few thefts. TVs were pinched. A lot of the place was vandalised, so I understand. And a lot of the local area, obviously, community got involved and helped donate. They were donating money to them, and they've had it all done out. It looks fantastic.
That's a nice ground, I'll give you that.
We as I say, mate, we are so fortunate, but we're very humble that we've got Highgate. We can't thank them enough. Malk Nick will tell you, he's a really, really nice guy. He's asked actually if he can be involved and play, because I believe he used to play a bit when he was younger. So he's definitely someone that will be playing as well. So it's we always want to give back. We're not one of these teams where we take. Like I'm sure we've both seen a few teams do. We want to give back as well. We want to give as much as we take, and that's why obviously we look forward to making the travel down to you guys as well. And hopefully as well we'll be at that point where we'll have a decent following and people can make the travel down as well. We'll also car share as well. But it's an exciting project. We look forward to how big it can get. But obviously we'll I don't know if you're ready, Nick, but we can obviously go on to the new project that we're potentially looking at.
Just before you do that, if that's all right, just going back to publish. I literally just had an email from a newspaper up by us saying that just come up with a few questions I've got to answer, but they said that they're happy to put an article in their newspaper up here, and we've done a little bit of a write-up on you guys in there as well. So,
thank you.
And I think that's the other thing that we want to maintain that, and it's not pinching anybody off anybody else, but I think going forward, if it's as successful as we know it can be, it'd be nice to have almost like an affiliated group of teams. And I don't mean like a league, or I'm not going to use a certain person's example again after last night, but just like a proper band of 2 or 3 clubs that, we've had a lot of contact with the Yorkies lot as well, which I know we're eager to play them. But if we're having these successes, it'd be really nice if we could have a partnership of, say, 3-4 teams, and what's to say we can't have an event later down the line where we all get together on the same day.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, we basically it's more Rich's idea really. I know that the football in mind thing is something that he did last year. I wasn't actually involved in that. It's only this year that I've started to sort of help out. But we were looking at not necessarily forgetting that, remembering why we did it, and off the success and the lessons learned from what we've done with this. I think the mental health thing is obviously really important to us because we're obviously 2 that have been ultimately impacted by it. It's not being sent into the kitchen again by a 2-year-old. What do you want now? Bloody hell, mate. I tell you, like a gannet. You tell me what you want, you can have it because I'm going to call. Hurry up. Hurry up. Not like this in the classroom. I'll be the first one to get my valid. But you tell me what, I'm just going to wait here anyway. But yeah, I think we want to make sure that we're doing something still with that mental health impact still. So we are looking at it started off as that, and then I had a bit of a think about it over the last few days. And with what I said to you about Sport England, the one thing I can't see that's being done out there at the moment, and it might be something that you guys want to add to or you might want to get involved in, but with all the stuff that's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, you've then got BAME, you've got everything else going off, LGBT, a team that basically encompasses all walks of life.
Yeah.
So I know what you always say about bringing people together. What's the matter? You've been rude. What's the matter? He's just literally staring at a couple full of crisps here. So, but yeah, I think for me, it's, everybody will say everybody's welcome, everybody can play, and that's great. But is there a team out there that are currently doing it where they have, people from, I know the Sikh community is one of the lowest attaining football sort of divisions. There's barely anybody involved in it, but their fan base is huge. The Punjabi community in Birmingham, I know we've got, particularly Wolves, they've got a massive community. So looking at maybe setting up a team where we've got people that are covering all aspects, religions, races, orientation, the lot. Yeah. So that's something that we are starting to have a look at for ourselves, really. I think Rich will probably agree that there's 4 of us behind it. Perry, for his own reasons, can't really do a lot at the moment. And then we've got another one involved in the 4 who he's got his strengths, but I just question his morals sometimes. And that's the one person that we're having to sort of keep a few tabs on. And I think going forward, it's people like yourselves that we'd rather work with, whether we make it a side that's spread over multi-regions or it's a side that we have like we've got for Nightingale at the moment. That's something that you might be interested in going forwards with us.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly had a similar conversation with John a while back, and I said what I would like to do, whether it's with us or with a partnership with you guys or something in the future, is to kind of have like a franchise of a football charity team.
Yeah.
So you have like we'll use us for example, but you have like an Essex Charity Essex, and you have one, I don't know, Birmingham, and then you have one in an Edinburgh or something like that. And do you know what I mean? It's something that, like yourself, so you can spread that message far and wide and give every single person that wants to be involved that equal opportunity to do so.
I think the one team I've been, I mean, you guys might have experience of them. The one team I've been really impressed with, and I spoke to a couple of people, is the Sands United charity.
Yeah.
And just seeing how many teams there are, even just in this region. You know, I didn't realise we got a team in Solihull, which is by where we're playing. There's a team based in Birmingham, and I'm thinking if that's just within our district, you know, it's a massive movement, and it's obviously again a really good cause.
Yeah,
like I say, it'd be nice to do something where we can sort of spread it around a bit.
Yeah, they've got Sands United Doncaster. They've got one in Essex as well.
I was going to say there's one in Chelmsford, like about 10 minutes from where we're
all
playing.
over the place. I think we've spoken to them a couple of times, haven't we? But I think we're keen to get in, like to play them at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their schedule's a bit more hectic than ours, so it kind of thwarted plans for that. But we're in talks to play them next year, which would be brilliant. You know, I'd love to help raise money for their cause. I'm such a big backer of what they're trying to do. Well, what they are doing, not even trying to do. So,
but that's kind of the avenue that we foresee for the future, anyway. Whether it's done particularly on ourselves or through a partnership, because it's important to, when you're trying to do things like that, is have that strong foundation, as you know, Nick. So, but again, that's a future plan anyway. We've got to concentrate on the here and now and do what we can for the current charities anyway.
Yeah, that's it. Because I think, as we've spoke about before, you know, we've got a 2, 3, 5 year plan as well. So that would be another great way that would incorporate really nicely actually in what we want to do in the future. You know, of what we've spoke about in 2 years' time, where we want to be, to go from that and incorporate like a multi-region, I don't know how to explain it, like a multi-regional charity team where we can represent different parts of the country, all raising for the same cause and all like raising awareness for the same cause. So I think actually, Spence, what we've spoke about before, that would tie in really nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so do we want to be this massive YouTube team? No, we don't really, because that's meaning that
not in it for that.
We're not in it. That means that we're winning, and the only winners are the charity, and that's the most important message that we spread amongst our group of players, is that it's the charity that wins. You win, lose or draw, it doesn't matter.
It's funny because our next sort of goal, because of how quick it's gone. I mean, I think we sometimes need to stop and take stock of the fact that it's only been 13 weeks.
Yeah.
So I've said, like, the next sort of thing we were looking at a YouTube channel, and it's not obviously from what we've just said, but I mean, my vision for it is it's not necessarily even game highlights or anything like that. I think with the charity, the one thing I'd like to get involved in, and we've reached out to one of the guys who works at BBC Radio, who came and he did an interview about gambling in football with us recently.
Okay.
And he sent me through stuff off the back of the advert I put out last night, and his video content is, like, in terms of up this area, top notch. Can you show me what you want? But for me, I think things like documentaries on the story of why we're doing what we're doing, and actually getting the people who are playing for the club to share with us what's a typical day in their life, that's something we'd like to try and get across. So I want it filmed almost like it's professional quality, as opposed to, like, you know, on your phone. But I think that's another good way of doing it. So it's taking, again, away the aspect of why we're playing football, but specifically why we're helping those people out. The one thing that I don't think has been put across very well in this country during the whole thing is, I haven't seen many cameras going into our hospitals. On Sky News, you see all what's going on in Italy, you see what's going on in Spain. I think in our country, we almost hide behind things when things aren't going well. And that goes for any sort of aspect of any charity that we go for. I think they're very quick to highlight the positives, but they're not really getting at the crux of why things are going on. So if we can get people interviewed who have, you know, it sounds horrible, suffered lost ones during this, they've been through it themselves, they're working through it. I think that's one thing that we're looking at using it for. But as you say, I don't really want it to be, you know, this is us, this is why we're doing it, this is our, like, new kit, blah, blah, blah. I don't want it to be anything like that.
No.
But used the right way, it's really powerful.
Yeah, of course.
Do you think that sometimes the message can be more powerful than your actions?
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, can you put those away?
Just your little take on it, just about the project that we're working on. Obviously, we haven't really mentioned it to anyone in terms of names, so this isn't an official name. I'm not taking any credit for the name because Nick thought of it. He even put a nice little badge together as well that we're going to get looked at. But we're thinking of a name that sort of represents what we're looking at, and we thought it really fit into the cause, our vision. And we like the name Headstrong.
Love that.
Yeah, I thought it's really powerful words, a term to use, shall I say? And when Nick suggested it to me, it was just like when Perry said to me Nightingale, I just thought, yeah, I don't even want to think about anything else. I just think that's a really, really nice name. So I don't know what you guys think of that name, but I think that name is just powerful for what it is. Obviously, with football in mind, just quickly touching on what Nick said, it was my baby essentially. I started it off from a Facebook status. Really, just I put up a status in January last year saying, "Does anybody fancy doing a football tournament in aid of mental health awareness?" I was expecting maybe 3 or 4 teams to message me. I had about 50 people message me, and I thought, blimey, this needs to be on a bigger scale. And that was when, at the time, I was a foundation coach at Aston Villa, and basically, we got into contact through Damien, who obviously works behind Nightingale, and we got in touch with one of the club legends, Peter Whiff, his son Stephen. He manages all the ex-footballers. They work for him and they do Legends games and all that sort of stuff. We got in contact with him and I told him what I wanted to do and what our vision was. And we made a massive event. We raised just shy of 4,000.
Wow.
That was really in one event. And it was something I just loved. And that's where I really caught, if I'm honest, the charity bug and giving something back. Really, at first, my expectations weren't very high because I wasn't expecting the exposure that it had. The difference with Nightingale is Nightingale's more national, whereas obviously Football in Mind was more regional. For Headstrong, me and Nick, if we push it correctly, there's nothing stopping that being national as well. Especially with mental health at the moment. It's a massive one. I know for me, because I've been struggling. I'm not scared to admit that, and it's something I really. If I didn't have football, I think, I dread to think what path I'd be going down. And I'm lucky that I have very good friends as well. I'm very close with Nick's brother Jason, and he takes me out running pretty much every day. So that sort of clears my head. And if I didn't have that, I think it'd be a far greater task than what I imagine. But just going back really to what I want to do, I want to do it because I know there's many people out there that go through the same thing, that just bottle it up and they leave it to the point where they have no other way to escape, and then they unfortunately they end their life. And I don't want people to go through it. And, I feel that we all need to unite as one. To me, I don't care what ethnicity you are, what sexual orientation you are. To me, you're no different than I am. I have friends of all different cultures. And I think that's one thing that I really, really like the idea of, and I'm really excited about with Headstrong, is to have people of different ethnicities. And basically, mate, just obviously equality and diversity throughout the whole team. And really, with the code of conduct for Nightingale, we won't accept any form of bullying or anything like that. If anybody commits any of those, they're out straight away. There's no second chances with it. We don't care if it's a bit of banter. At the end of the day, you don't say things that will hurt someone's feelings deliberately. I don't care if you've known the person 10 years. They might not be bothered by it, but I don't care. and Nick being a teacher, you know, he said to me, if he ever sees bullying in his class, he loses his head. You know, he can't stand it. So, you know, basically, mate, we just want to use it as a way to sort of push equality and diversity. I think that's our message, really. But yeah,
I think the football thing is massively underused, and obviously as teachers now, our challenge is now to try and adapt how we teach things, and that's why I think putting the Nightingale thing in school it's been a really positive move. But just yesterday, actually, I've just started up an equality group, which is across about 25 schools in Redditch, and it's come off the back of a letter that we've received from previous pupils going back to when I was at school, so we're talking sort of 15, 20 years ago, and it's actually quite frightening to hear some of the stuff that kids were undergoing back then that they didn't realise were either racist, like stuff to do with their orientation, everything else. Yeah. But I think for me, the biggest thing is it's how we educate people, and I think a lot of people see the Black Lives Matter thing, and rightly or wrongly, there are facets to it that are positive. There are some things that aren't done the right way, but I think it's up to people like ourselves in a position where we're helping other people out to get those people on board and get them to actually explain their story, because we can take what we can out of it. We can listen to bits and pieces, and we can piece together the bits that we read out of books, but it'd be actually nice to have people involved in teams who can say, like, well, this is my story, this is why I faced it, and bring those sort of people together, because obviously they've not had that opportunity, or they haven't felt comfortable enough to explain it before. The bit that frightened me was the other day. I've only been at the school I started at the school the first week of lockdown, but the letter that we had sent to us about equality and getting teachers to help re-educate kids, this is just in Redditch. So between 3 schools, there was over 400 signatures on that letter of people that felt that they've in the past had prejudice or something else labelled against them. And we literally sat around the table. There's about 12 of us on the group, ranging from a head girl at the high school all the way up to people that have been teaching for years. There's one lady on the group herself who was actually born in Zimbabwe, and she witnessed her neighbours and her family being slaughtered in front of her. And we were sat there around the table the other night, and it was like, you know what I mean? It brings it home. But as I said, I think using football and using what we're doing, I think we're in a position right now with everything that's going on that it could be a lot bigger. We said about going into the schools. There's no reason why things like curriculum plans and things like that can't be written in to get us involved in them as well. And that for me would be the big thing, giving back to, from my perspective, giving back to children and doing something that's going to help them learn. And it doesn't matter whether it's your charity, our charity. I think that's something we can definitely push going forwards as well.
100%, yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to do as well. We're trying to not just the charities, but we're trying to give back to the local communities as well, that perhaps that don't benefit from certain things, that are no less deserving than anybody else either.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to serve both causes, of course, but just going back to your Headstrong, I think it's a really, really good idea, and it's something personally, because I mean, I don't mind saying it, but I do suffer from mental health as well. And I know he won't mind me saying it, but John does suffer from it. And I think mental health is there's a massive stigma around it, where lots of people don't understand mental health. No. So it's important that you have groups like yourselves that are coming together to try and push the awareness of mental health. And I think one of the best ways of doing that is through football, in my eyes, because it gives people the opportunity to have that release, that 2 hours away from problems in their mind, and just get rid of it on a football pitch. So I think that's vitally important as well.
I think the whole re-educating thing, I mean, prime example is what happened at Villa at the weekend, and I know it's taking it back to the club that we support and everything else, but you look at what happened with Wilf Zaha, and I mean, I don't know if you guys saw that,
yeah.
But what shocked me was the fact that, firstly, that message was sent, and I know you get a lot of people who hide behind the keyboard, but then the next thing you're hearing is that's a 12-year-old, and you know what I mean? I'm thinking they've got to have learned that to understand the connotations behind it, but what they're not learning is the seriousness of what it means and why, you know, yeah, the police have gone and spoken to them, but are they going to learn from that? Yeah. So I think getting footballers together who have all experienced different things, be it Sikh community, because I know there's a lot of, without trying to label, I know there's a lot of trouble in the Asian community between different religions. Getting people together like that. I mean, I play cricket at a decent standard, and we've got a mix of all sorts playing on there. We've got Jewish players, we've got, you know, Sikh, Muslim, the lot, and they're all coming together. And when you actually hear what they go through, that's something until they speak to you, you're not actually aware of. So I got him playing a bloody guitar now. I knew a little interlude there for it. But yeah, I think we've just got to. Yeah, what's the matter? Yeah, I know we're going in a minute. I think we've just got to try and it's driving me up the wall. Just got to try and push it as much as we can, and I think we've got more than enough to obviously get started. But like you said about your long-term plans as well, I think that's something that we need to perhaps tomorrow when we sit down, not just think about what we're going to do next year, but think about what we're going to do, X, Y, and Z over the next few steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely got to be done.
It's important. You have to do it, as I said right at the beginning. If you want to build that foundation, you've got to have that plan in your head of what you want to do in the future. Otherwise, you just run out of ideas, I suppose, won't you? But
we'll get there.
Certainly sounds great what you guys are doing anyway. I think John might have a couple of questions for you as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Rich answered one of my questions straight off the bat. We was talking about why was it specifically the NHS, but you've already answered that. We had a question from Shane, didn't we, about just actually completely going off subject, but what do you feel like the guidelines should be for our level and for grassroots football returning?
It's a really difficult question, that is. I think because we're seeing professional football, that almost feels like it's giving you the emphasis for like why they're different. And I mean, I know they get tracked and traced a lot more, and they're being tracked 2-3 times a week and everything else. But I find it difficult because obviously in school we're being told that we're in a minority where it's not supposedly as high risk. So I'm going into school and seeing 30-40 kids all on top of one another in the playground having a kickabout and everything else. And we're not having to actually say anything about socially distancing them. So if they're allowed to do that on the playground, I don't see what the difference is between that and then playing football at the weekend. That really frustrates me. I mean, we've had letters from the FA regarding schools football saying that we're to cancel all football tournaments and fixtures now up till the October half term, with the possibility that there may be no football this year. Well, that's what we've had sent as a school. But what's going to happen when, like I say, if they do turn around and say that we can start playing as of September, and they're saying that kids are a low risk, why are they cancelling all the schools football? It almost feel like there's something that they know that we don't. And I think we're always going to end up banging our heads up the wall because nobody's categorically coming out and saying what definitely is going to happen, or it's frustrating me. I personally think if you're happy to play and you've been and you like everybody else, you've not been tested as being positive or anything, I don't see why you can't. If people can go and have a sit in the pub or whatever, or do whatever else, why can't we go outside?
Yeah, exactly.
I think what scares me the most about this virus is those that are asymptomatic and show absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. So, for example, I can meet up with Nick tomorrow. Yeah, but touch wood, he won't. And he could actually carry the virus. I won't know because he doesn't have any symptoms. He feels perfectly fine in himself. He could pass it to me, and I could be on my deathbed. Yeah. And I think that's the scariest part about it. Unlikely of me being harmed by it. It's very unlikely because obviously my age. But it's my mum, my dad that I'm concerned about. I know obviously Nick as well. He's got a little one. He's got a wife to think about. Obviously his mum as well, Jace. So when you work in a school, I suppose you can. Teachers, you have kids as well. So unfortunately, it have to live in fear, and I guess that's the normality of it all now until a vaccine really comes available. When that is, we don't know. I know there's trials at the moment in America, is it? I've seen online, but realistically, I don't know how long it is. Nobody knows. I think that's what's sorry.
So the one guy who wants to play for us, who's been a good friend of mine for 15 years or so, he's a lead paramedic in Birmingham, and when he tells me some of the stuff they're being shown in their daily briefings compared to what we're being told, it does make me wonder whether it is going to all come back as soon as people are saying, because their projections, they've got this thing about August the 11th as being a new peak date. But he's been categorically told, and it hasn't been mentioned on the news anywhere else, that they're they're more or less certain that something's going to happen in between the end of September and October. And they're already making preparations now to have people on standby to actually go back into the Nightingale Hospital. Well, we're not being told that, are we?
No.
So I do think we need some sort of clarification there.
I do think something needs to be done, because I think if a second wave hit, it's going to absolutely cripple the economy.
100%.
And obviously, it would just be disastrous. But personally, I think in terms of grassroots football level anyway, I've just got this thing in the back of my head that I feel like the FA doesn't really give a shit about it.
No.
Because I think part of the reason why is because obviously they make money through taxes and VAT and so on and so forth through the professional game, where they don't make that through the lower level. So it's the same as the pubs, the hairdressers, all of this kind of thing. They're open. The government make money from that. So it just, in my mind, it feels they're only opening that because they need to claw back some of the revenue that they've paid out from, like, the furlough scheme, for example.
Yeah.
So of course it was always going to be that way, but I think they have to look at it from another aspect as well. That there are a lot of people that are not working. There are a lot of people that are suffering from certain things. And football at grassroots level is a way out for those people. It's a way. It gives people that purpose. And I think if they don't pick it up and do it quite soonish. I mean, personally, I think that grassroots level can implement more infrastructure in terms of social distancing than the professional game anyway, because we can limit the crowds more often. We can do just as ball sanitisation, whatever it is. But I think they need to bring it back, and they need to do something fairly quickly. Otherwise, they're going to see a massive hike in people's mental illness. And then that's just me personally. I think that's going to happen.
And I think you're right, because what's got me is they've said about bringing the game back professionally to help people's mental health. I think some people forget that, like, football is some of the only exercise that some people get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And also, it's some of the only social groups that they've got as well. If they're playing in, like, a charity side, for example, for mental health, that might be the only sort of collective group of people that they've got. So then going back to football is a big difference. But I just think we're being fobbed off, to be honest with you. That's how it feels. And this business of we'll let you know, that mentality doesn't work. And there's only going to be more angst and more people risking it and playing the game of playing a fixture, not knowing if it's safe or not, if they're not being given clear guidelines.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were supposed to have an update on Monday, wasn't we? And we're now, Thursday? We still haven't got nothing.
Nothing at all.
So there's something going on, but we can only wait, can't we? But I think it needs to be done, because obviously, again, for us specifically, there's charities out there that need our help more than ever as well. And obviously that we need to make sure that people are okay as well, and are not falling deeper into a state of mental health. And I think for me personally, because I've always played it, football has always been a release and always been a way that I can hide away from mental health just for a short period of time. Obviously being around people that do suffer from mental health, because there are a lot of players in our group that do suffer from it, being around other people that you can relate to, and plus doing something that you love doing is just really important.
Yeah, it's just frustrating, and like, you just want some clarity, really, don't you? Above all else, because we want to make sure we're doing the right thing. My worry as well, and we've said this in school, is if we do something and then we're then told that we shouldn't have done it, it's the whole legal side of stuff.
Yeah.
I think people are forgetting that as well. It's not just a case that we want to go back and play. If I make a mistake, is it me that's held liable? Is it somebody else that's held liable? It's frightening, isn't it?
Exactly, and we've said that to our team as well, because everyone's itching to get out there. Everyone's itching to do contact football and everything like that. And we've had to say to our lads that we're not going to do it, because we're not going to put ourselves in that situation where you could just have one random person that takes a picture of you with an Essex Charity T-shirt on, and then it's slapped all over social media, because then that seriously damages what you're doing and your reputation. And we're not going to put ourselves in that situation.
That's why we put trials on hold.
Yeah. I mean, trials might be slightly different, but when you're looking at doing it for 100 people, I see your point. It's quite difficult.
Yeah,
that's it.
Well, hopefully, me and Nick will have some clarification around who we're going to pick tomorrow. What we're looking at doing as well is those that are shortlisted, we're going to possibly message them and just ask what the cause means to them.
Yeah.
And why they feel the cause is important. We go from there.
We did exactly that, Rich, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We ask them why they want to come and play for us. What does it mean to them? What does it mean to play for Essex Charity? And some of the responses we got back were just superb, weren't they, John? To be fair.
Yeah, literally as soon as we some of the messages we read, and it was like, yeah, right, get them involved straight away. You know, you could tell from just what they'd said that this means the world to them, and that they're not coming. The football part of it isn't important to them at all. It's the social part, and it's the fundraising part, and the helping the charities that we are supporting. So to me, that was just, like my decision's made. Let's get them in.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, just going back to your football mind stuff. As we do with the Nightingale, we're more than happy to support you as much as we can with that as well. That's not a problem. I know you've got a bigger following than we have, but we'll support you as we always try to do, and I know you guys do the same, which is appreciated.
Sam, if there's any way in which we can support you guys, we will. Headstrong, people could take to it quite well. People might not take to it. I've got Nick beside me that's on who I know how he works. I know that to be honest, he's a bit of a ruthless worker. So he'll just go in and he'll just work at it. And I know whenever he has 2 minutes free, he's always full of ideas. He'll like I say, he'll mess with me like 2 a.m. Rich, you ever thought about doing this? And literally, mate, it's good. So I look forward to it, and we'll have to see how it plans out.
I think you should call it Headstrong United, by the way.
Headstrong United.
Yeah, because it gives that unity. United.
Yeah. No, we're look
long that one off, Rich.
You are.
Long that one.
Yeah, we're not going to do
that. But, no, anyway, look, we're really excited about the relationship we've got you guys, and obviously making that permanent and making sure it just continues to grow. Doing all that we can for you guys, and obviously I know you do it vice versa. So yeah, thanks for allowing us to build a relationship with you first and foremost. Anyway,
no problem at all, mate.
Oh, say that again, pal.
It's really appreciated from us as well, because obviously we've only been together a few weeks, so any advice is good advice, really.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in it together, we're all in it for the same reason, aren't we? So share and share alike is my motto anyway. If we can help each other out, then everyone wins. But
imagine the project, if we had a project that us, it's a shame we don't live locally. If we was literally within half an hour of each other and we all had a project that us four were working on, imagine how big it would be, so it would be ridiculous.
Distance isn't a problem from us, as I said, because as I said to you the other day, like let's come up, let's come up to you guys, let's do some filming at your ground, and John said straight away, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Are you guys all right with travelling here? I'm waiting to hear from Highgate on some dates, but we'll all sit in the changing room and have a good chat. Get obviously the videographer on side, and then we can go from there. And obviously the clubhouse, I'm guessing, will be open, so we can all sit and chill and have a beer as well.
Yeah.
We'll go from there. We'll show you a bit of the club. I mean, the carpet, mate, the pitch is beautiful. I think that, so I look forward to it. It's going to be a massive event. I'm very.
The other option as well. Sorry, before I forget, the other option as well is, if travelling up or travelling down or whatever ends up being a pain, if it's just somewhere that's like midway that's easy to meet up, like I know it sounds like a pub or somewhere. Just let us know. Like I say, we're easy. We'll travel as well.
Honestly, we to be honest, we want to come up.
Yeah, we're easy.
We want to come up and see your ground as well, and do the filming there, just to promote you guys and what you're doing.
Yeah,
so it's not a problem with us, honestly.
That's fine.
Yeah. It's important for us actually that we want to come up. As you said, we want to promote you guys, what you're doing, and to see your guys' ground before we come and play. It's important for us. It's just another link in building that relationship,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. But apart from that, I think that's pretty much it for me. I don't know if John, if you want to ask the guys anything else, or if you want to let them go, because I know Nick's driving.
Yeah, no, honestly.
lockdown haircut might have been waiting.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I've got a hat on. I never wear a cap.
I just cut my own. I can't be asked.
So Spencer's having the same trouble with his lockdown haircut, I can see.
Short back and side, Spence.
Yeah, mate. It went ages ago. It went. I think it started to go when I was about 21, and I just couldn't be asked with it anymore.
Yeah.
Just love it off, but
Thinning on top, but the sides grow quick. It's like marijuana fillet, ain't it?
yeah, I've got like a runway on the top of my head.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm trying to hold on to what I've got, but I just can't be bothered.
You have to just let it go gracefully.
Yeah, she's just going to go. But anyway, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us.
Yeah,
anyway.
no problem.
No, you've been fantastic, like, as always.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably speak later on, like we always do. But yeah, thank you very much.
Brilliant.
Right.
No, love it, lads. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, guys. Take care.
Bye,
Bye, mate.
Bye.